Hey everybody, I wanted to take a minute and talk to you about the plan giving calculators that we have on our website. So if you go to our website and then click on the resources page, you're going to see several resources that we update those periodically just to kind of freshen things up. But right now what's on there, you'll see these plan giving potential. There's calculators. There's two different calculators. There's a simple calculator and a detailed calculator. And while the calculations are a little bit different, the big difference is what data you have to be able to help fill in the information. So if for the simple calculator, when you click on that, it's going to take you to a embedded web page. So you just sort of see it right here. But because Zoom and recording slows everything down, we're actually going to do it on a standalone page just so you can kind of see it. So on the simple page, right, the only number that you need is the active donors. And so for these calculations, an active donor is a donor who's made a gift of any size in the last 12 months. So if you know how many active donors you have in your file, or have a really good guess of how many active donors you have, this is a good calculator to kind of give you an idea about what to expect from a plan giving standpoint. So there's several numbers here, but the only thing you can do, and the only number you can enter, or the only field you can adjust is this field. How many active donors do you have on your donor file? So if we say 5250, if we say 6,375, just randomly, tab away or enter away or click away, it adjusts all of these numbers, right? So right now it's 1594. If we make it 7,500, it goes up, right? So if we go back to 6234, right? Now for this first one, it's just simple rough. We say if you've been around for about 5 years, we anticipate that about a quarter of your donor file have multi-year donors in it, right? So the people who've given you more than one gift. And so more than one gift for more than 1 year. And our estimate is about 25%. That holds out across the industry. It does vary, of course, but that's the number we're going to use for this, right? So if you have that number, we'll show you what to do with that. And then that then feeds into, of those, only a portion of them are going to really be open to a plan giving conversation and think about it, talk about it. And we say, if you've got 6,234 active donors, you probably have about 468 plan giving prospects. Well, that's amazing. And of course, you got to find them and they have to self-identify some of them. Some of them you're going to aim at and talk to. And if you have 478 prospects, people who are open to the conversation, is probably going to get you about 89 planned gifts. And we look at 89 planned gifts. We look at the frequency of gift types. So the gift by will, gift of life insurance, gift of retirement assets. And we look at those average gifts and how those calculate out. We get a number of about $3,560,000. So it's a pretty significant number, and it's well researched. So we've got really good numbers behind why we think that is what it is. But it's not as crisp as it would be if you have a really good understanding of your data. So the more nuanced you know, the better off you are getting a really honing in on the data. So the first one here is, let's just see, is simple, is, what was it? 6234. So 6234. If that's all we do, and when we leave the rest of these alone, we're not going to add any of that, you'll notice we're going to get different calculations because it anticipates numbers. It anticipates these numbers. And so when you don't have them, it's saying, okay, this isn't a very mature file. If you don't know this, if you don't have the information, then it's not expecting a whole lot out of your file. But so if you have it, but you don't know it, use the simple calculator. But if you don't have gifts, donors have been around for 5 years. You don't have donors have been around for 10 years. You don't have volunteers that are participating. You don't have lapsed donors, then you don't want to use this calculation. But if you know this information, you have this information, then this calculator is going to give you a better estimate of what your plan giving potential is. So the first thing is just, it's the same number, right? So we have 6,234 active donors in our file. Of those, we have, let's just say we have 3,333 donors who've given for 5 years, 5+ years. Of those 5+5 years, some percentage of them will have given 10+ years of giving. And let's just say we have 750 of those. Now, this number is included in this number, and this number is included in this number. But the formula knows all that, takes all into account. The other thing that is a really good indicator of plan giving potential is volunteers. So if you have volunteer information who are active donors. Now, I'm not saying there have to be a active donor to be a plan giving donor. I'm not saying that at all. In fact, we know that 20% of all planned gifts are not known to not known to the organization. So that's not at all the case. But to help us, we're looking at active donors who have volunteered with your organization. So if they've given a gift of any size last 12 months and they're a volunteer, how many of those do you have? The more you know the data, the better off you're going to be. So let's just say you only have 150 of those. Now, the other thing we want to look at is lapsed donors. So donors who have lapsed don't necessarily mean they don't care about your organization anymore. They just don't feel like they can make current gifts. And that might mean they're prime to talk to about planned giving. Now, the other thing about talking to your lapsed donors about planned giving is talking to your lapsed donors about planned giving can reactivate the donors. So you're changing the narrative from asking them to educating them and sharing opportunities and sharing options about a legacy and supporting them through their will. So you're not after their cash now. You want to talk to them about leaving a legacy through a gift through their will. So how many lapsed donors do you have on your donor file with 10+ gifts? Well, that could be a huge number, but we're going to put in here that it's 5555. Whoa, that's too many there. It's not that big. All right, and then we're going to take away. So these three numbers are all going to be part of this number. This number is different because it isn't an active donor, so it isn't calculated. So it's a different set of numbers, but still important. So we say, okay, of all of these donors and all these different categories of donors, you probably have about 2,052 donors who are open to the idea of a conversation about a legacy. Of those, you probably have 502 people who are going to be interested in a planned gift. And of those, you have, and from a newer program, you have, you have about 142 donors who are going to make planned gifts. Now you see here, 142 donors generates about $6,991,900 because it's more mature. You've got a better group of donors who've been with you a longer time. You have a better understanding of what they could do and what they would do. So the calculation is going to generate different numbers based on your donor file. If you have a more mature program, not just a donor file, but a planned giving program, and you're offering charitable gift annuities, you're offering a pooled income fund, you're actively soliciting charitable trusts to serve as trustee of those, then we're going to up the number of planned gifts you have and significantly up the amount of money you're going to generate, because the money generated from those, what they call split interest gifts, can be fairly significant. If you don't have it, just ignore that. You can just stop right here, okay? Still, this is a really good idea. So let's go back up here and say 6234 and 6234, right? So under this calculation, this is 3.5 million, which is still an impressive planned giving option. But if you really know your data and you have a good understanding of it, you can really hone that and really amp up what your potential is on your donor file. The reality is that this donor file may have the same exact potential. We just don't know the numbers. And so when we know the numbers, we can give you a really clear view of what the potential is inside of your planned giving file. So anyway, so I hope this is helpful to you as you've gone through this. Hopefully it has been helpful to you, but if you have other questions or you want to look at other data, please let me know. As you use the website, and that is an embedded form, if it gives you any problems at all, please let me know. We'll send it to you in a Google Doc like this so you can kind of use your numbers, but we're trying to keep that if we don't have to. So anyway, let me know what questions you have. Hopefully this is helpful for you seeing the potential you have of your plan giving future. Thank you so much.